All right, good evening, class. Welcome to week number 5. That is right, week number 5 of your 9407 class, which is Intellectual Freedom and its Discontents. As always, I am your professor, Dr. Jace Austin, and we're going to just do some very quick updates tonight. There's not much to talk about. And in fact, I, I will say that these check-in videos are going to get a bit more substantial once we get to the more traditional library stuff within this course. But right now, I know that the legal material is probably really hard for some of you to digest. I know it's not easy. So whatever time I would have spent kind of talking to you all, I am allowing you all to use that kind of time to look at YouTube videos or whatever might help you break down these cases into a more, dare I say, not layman's, but layperson's perspective, so that you can understand the material that you are reading about a little bit better. Hustler v. Falwell, by the way, is one of the most interesting court cases I've ever come across. So, just kind of, like it. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of learn what happened there and how it affects law today. And you will see that that is one of two of your choices for the discussion prompt for this week. So yeah, again, I'm mostly just doing course updates this week. What I will say is, not course updates, but state of the course. But what I will say is that you all are doing a fantastic job. I've been very impressed with what I've been seeing on the discussion boards. So on the discussion boards, especially this past week with Fighting Words, I was like, how is Fighting Words going to work? And I read what you all wrote, and there were so many good, varied opinions, and I was just like, these students, they're sharp, and they've got some good ideas, some good beliefs. All of the stuff you all were doing as far as tying this back to your own library policies where you work, several of you did that. That was amazing and incredible, and I was happy to see that. So you all are doing a fantastic job. Again, I know that these are very tough times. I don't know when the tough times are going to end, but what I do know is in the meantime, you all are still approaching your coursework very well. So I'm very happy to see that. One thing as far as course, state of the course and all this stuff, one thing that I do want to make sure you all do is, again, these aren't due until November 1st, but your banned book report, just make sure that you have not been omitted from this list so that you don't have to scramble and find information right before it's due. And that's because I had unintentionally forgot to assign or overlooked assigning Megan a book. So she now has a banned book. And as we can see, one of our classmates, Eve, has already done her report. And what I wanted y'all to do was just kind of learn from each other. And this is a way to do that. So one of your classmates is going to do a report on one of the books, and you all can just read it and learn, and it's all going to be right there for you in that one place. Banned Books Week is something that libraries all over the place take a lot of pride in every year. And, you know what I'm saying? So, it's something that when you've been in the game for a long time, you kind of get tired of it. So that's where I am. But the thing is, it's something to, increase awareness of intellectual freedom. And it is, and libraries stake in it. And so, yeah, I think it's still good, even though I get tired of it. It's like every week, every year when that week comes around. Now I'm just like, now we got to make a big deal out of banned books. But again, it's a way to engage patrons. It's a way to engage each other. It's a big deal to so many people in the field. So I'll try not to be too much of a curmudgeon about it, but you know how it is. So I will say that. So if you have not been assigned, if you see that you're not assigned a book here, please let me know right away and I will get you one assigned. Some of these are going to be a little harder than others. Candy, you got the Holy Quran. That one is going to be hefty, but I knew you were up for the challenge. And some of these are going to have a little less information, and that's okay. Like for instance, with Uncle Bobby's Wedding, for instance, which Chris has, that's gonna be one that you don't have as much information about. But if you Google around and you look through those sources, you'll find stuff. And Eve has done a very good job. So if you want kind of don't get me wrong, you've got freedom to approach this the way you want to approach it. But if you want kind of a blueprint as to what would be successful, Eve has done that work for ya. So there you go. Now, when we talk about our topic for this week, which is defamation, right? Defamation, slander, libel. Just be careful again. And I'm going to show you all like a real something that happened 5 years ago that was actually pretty intense and pretty weird in the library world. And it actually got libraries exposed to people who have nothing to do with libraries that were following this issue. And it was crazy. But yeah, so first I would say that when it comes to slander and libel, and defamation, as you all would probably be aware of if you've ever seen a court show on television, these are not protected speech. You can be sued for slander, for libel, for defamation of character. Now, the thing is, and again, I'm not a lawyer. I was a newspaper reporter at one time, and it is a little difficult when we talk about the bar. And I remember your discussions from the Miller test when we talked about that. There's a bar in the Miller test that's kind of hard to, overcome. And so not a lot of things get labeled as obscene. And the same can be the case with, in a different way, but the same general principle of there being a high bar kind of comes into play with slander and libel as well. So when it came to libel, because I got threatened with like libel suits and all this stuff, people, but the thing is with libel, you do, to my knowledge, and James as a lawyer can definitely, Jim as a lawyer can definitely correct me if I'm wrong on this, but it always protected me in my journalism practice, was that they have to prove malicious intent, generally, or reckless abandon, apparently, when it comes to libel. So if I report a fact incorrectly, which then wouldn't make it a fact. So if I report something incorrectly, because we don't refute facts, we only refute lies. If I report something incorrectly, that doesn't necessarily mean that I've committed libel. I would have to have malicious intent in order to be guilty of committing libel. And so that is a bar, because most reporters just don't have malicious intent. And if they do, how do you prove it, really? But most reporters just want to go out and do the best job they can, just like any other profession, right? So, that's what happens when we talk about slander and libel and that sort of thing. But I'm going to actually now just tell you about, and I don't want to further embarrass anybody who is involved in this. So I'm going to be very light with what I say. But was this a different? Okay, hold on. It was a different browser. So, this was a huge deal about 5 years ago. And so I'm just asking my students to be very careful. Be very careful when it comes to what you're saying about other librarians, because this is a very small field and people's reputations get made or broken on what a few people say, because there's so many people that just know everybody else. And I enjoy knowing a lot of people in the LIS field, but there's a cost to it. The cost is, there are rumors about me. I know that there are rumors about me because some of them have gotten back to me. I've got allies in this field too. But there are, it only takes one bad decision to erase a life of good deeds or a career full of good deeds. And that's something that is kind of I don't know, it's something that can be a bit of a problem when you're talking about librarians kind of knowing each other and establishing reputations with one another and everything. And um, you just have to be careful. So, what I will say is this happened, and I'm going to leave it up to you to, if you want to Google this and find it yourself, do that. You can just Google update librarians embroiled in lawsuit alleging sexual harassment. The person who was being alleged to have been a sexual harasser within this field, he wound up suing for defamation against two of the people who were really publicly just hammering him and kind of destroying his reputation. Um, and they kind of destroyed his reputation. Now, I don't want to say without proof, because that could be even potentially, defamatory, but apparently whatever proof or circumstantial what have yous they had, it was very vague, and the solid case wasn't being made that Mr. Murphy, who this concerned, was actually committing sexual harassment. And whether he ever did or not, I can't tell you. But there were very charged accusations with some very flimsy evidence behind it. And so that turned into a lawsuit, and he won the lawsuit. And the others involved had to issue retractions and apologies to him for what basically did amount to defamation. So if you want to read up on this, go for it. I'm not, again, I don't want to further embarrass. And I think I think that even Mr. Murphy himself had said that he didn't want to further embarrass the people involved. It was just kind of, he wanted to clear his name. I don't think he got any monetary damages or anything. He just wanted to clear his name. But be very, very careful. And I would even say, this is probably unsolicited advice, but I would say, if possible, and I hate to say this, but this is the advice that Dr. Jace is recommending. If possible, you may want to steer clear of romantic relationships that are born within the field, and you may want to steer clear of things like hookups and rendezvous at conferences. Now, they do happen. They happen. But, just because they happen doesn't mean that you have to take part, okay? And I could live this philosophy a little better, probably, or I could have in the past. But my philosophy these days is, don't get your honey where you get your money. I would never date anyone who worked in a library that I worked at. I would not date any of the other professors in Sissel. Not that I would have a chance to. They probably have much better prospects than me. But I'm just saying, I would never even put that on the table, because no, I am trying to pay my rent. So yes, be very careful about those things. Yeah, I've known people who have hooked up at conferences and then they were fine, but it's dangerous. It really is dangerous. And there are a lot of conferences, in this field, so the chances of it happening may not be as remote as you think. But be careful. Please be careful. I'm somewhat open to, personally, this is just personal stuff, but I'm maybe somewhat open to dating someone who works at another unit on campus, because then it's not a coworker per se. just somebody who's a colleague at the same institution. And Mizzou and UMK, so you're both big. But even then, I would kind of shy away from that. You know, you just don't want to put yourself in bad situations, okay? And sexual harassment allegations are never good. They're never good. So I would like for all of you to go through your careers without ever having one, okay? So that's a little bit of unsolicited advice from Dr. Jace. You can take it or leave it. But when it comes to defamation, be very careful because, again, rumor mills, this is too small of a profession, and the rumors get started and you never know where they're going to end up, because you don't want them to end up in a lawsuit. All right, that is my time. I look forward to seeing you all next week and reading your discussion posts. That's it for me. I'm Dr. Jace, and a career is a terrible thing to waste. Love y'all. Peace out.